Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I am so excited to share with you one of my favorite recipes, dessert recipe, and I'm calling it Pumpkin Persimmon Cheesecake. Why? Because I have a spread here of all of the main ingredients that will come together and form the yummy pumpkin persimmon cheesecake. We're going to start off with steaming pumpkin and persimmon fruit, and of course, we're going to mix it with cheese, cream cheese, for our cheesecake. Charlie Poo brought over the pumpkin from Mom's garden and also persimmon fruits from the Asian market. There are three main phases for the pumpkin persimmon cheesecake. So that's the crust, the cheesecake itself, and then the topping. So for the crust, we're just going to simply do a graham cracker crust. You'll need about 11 to 12 sheets of graham crackers, and I'm going to use my mortar and pestle and just basically mash it until it is fine. And then we will add butter and then of course sugar, and that's gonna make the crust. We're gonna pack it into the cheesecake pan. If you'd like, you can add some of the spices in there to make the crust a little bit extra spicy. Not spicy in terms of like the heat, but just aromatic spices. And then for the cheesecake itself, we're going to do the pumpkin, the persimmon fruit, and of course the cream cheese, and then we're going to do brown sugar, the eggs, and then of course all of these spices, and we'll bake it. And then to top off the dessert, we're going to do a vanilla sour cream topping that's going to give it that extra tart. I can't wait. While my persimmon fruit and pumpkins are steaming, I'm going to go ahead and slice a persimmon fruit, and I'm going to dehydrate the slices as a garnish, as a topping for the cheesecake when it's all done. Today is actually Thanksgiving, but my family and I won't be celebrating the feast until tomorrow, Friday, and simply because of schedules. And so we want to make sure that all family members are able to join us. And so let's go to the counter, and we're going to slice this up. As you can see, this is just absolutely beautiful. It looks like a star anise, but I just love the design of this, and this is why I'm going to dehydrate this, and we're going to use it as a garnish for the pumpkin persimmon cheesecake. And you can do a lot or a little. And the smell is very complimentary to a Thanksgiving dessert because it just looks like it's got cinnamon in it. It has that sweet, somewhat of a and a clovey smell to it. This one I goofed up, so no problem. I'm just going to carve out the peel. The peel is very waxy and a lot thicker than an apple peel, so you might not want to eat it. Mmm. Mmm. Mm. Well, like I said, very, very complimentary to a Thanksgiving dessert. It would complement very well with like any pumpkin dessert, any apple pie, peaches. It just has that yummy flavor. Mm. Mm. It has been about 20 minutes and my pumpkins and persimmon fruit is almost done. I'm going to go ahead and start making the crust. We're going to pack it down in this cheesecake pan, and it's just going to be yummy. I'm going to go ahead and make the crust. So let's come down to the counter, and we're just going to mash the graham cracker crust. Okay, so the pumpkins and the persimmon fruit, after steaming, I have to let it cool off because if I stick it in with the mixture of the cheesecake mixture, it's actually going to start cooking the eggs that are in there. So I've got my beautiful glove, and I'm just going to do a solo glove, and this is really for packing down the crust. I'm going to use my favorite cooking tool, and instead of mashing down and packing the crust, which I might do, I'm actually going to use this barrel portion and just kind of knead it into place. And we're going to get started. So let's come down to the counter. I've got sugar, but I'm not going to use all of this. Probably 2 tablespoons. So that's 1, 2. And then we're not going to fuss with too many spices, just simple cinnamon. And I would say about 1 teaspoon, and then of course cardamom. Oh, it smells so beautiful. Not a whole lot, so we'll probably want to do maybe half a teaspoon. Will just help it come out. There we go. And just use a fork, or of course mix it with your hands, but I'll just do a fork. And then we're going to add butter. I have half a cup of butter in here, but we're just going to try 1/4 cup for now. And just to make things go faster, I'm just going to use my fingers. And then I can tell if I'm going to need more butter or not. For the amount of graham cracker crusts, so I have 11 to 12 sheets of graham crackers. I might need more. I might need more butter, but you can see how it's going to come together. This is still dry, so I don't think it hurts. Butter is not going to hurt anybody, I don't think. Certainly not hurting me. So we'll add the rest in there, and that is a total of half a cup of butter. And this is salted butter. You can use unsalted butter, but because we add sugar in there and the graham cracker crusts, or the graham crackers themselves have sugar in them, it's nice to balance with sweet and savory. And so salt is a really nice complement to offset that extra sweet where it gets a little bit too bitter. So I would suggest salted butter for this. Ooh, this feels good in my hand. I can already make it form, so that is perfect right there. Oh, it smells wonderful. There we go. Ooh, because of the portion of graham cracker, crushed graham crackers, we're gonna do, instead of a 9-inch cheesecake pan, we're going to do 9 3/4 or 10 inches. This is forming very well. I may not even need my favorite utensil, Thor's hammer. Yeah, that is beautiful right there. Well, let's try it with Thor's hammer. It's just a fun, a fun technique. And you just want to pack it down very, very well. And that's because, you know, you want to get that crust. So when you scoop it up, when the cheesecake is all done, you get that solid formation of a crust that you can enjoy with your cheesecake, your pumpkin persimmon cheesecake. I can really smell the cinnamon and the cardamom spices come out, and it's very complimentary. I'm so excited, and I can't wait to stick this in the oven. I actually can't wait to eat it. Now that is beautiful. Nice and packed, even at 85-degree angle. Now 90, it's not coming apart. So now let's go ahead and get the cheesecake and the pumpkin persimmon puree together, and we're going to pour it in this, and then we're going to bake it. I'm so excited. Okay, so now we're going to remove the pumpkin, the inside of the pumpkins, and also the persimmon fruit. And I mentioned pureeing it earlier, but we don't need to because it's all mush. And I like steaming the pumpkins and also the persimmon fruit because it adds moisture to there. So we don't need to add evaporated milk to our cheesecake mixture because there's a lot of moisture in this already. So let's go ahead and get started. Might need a knife. Now I've experienced persimmon fruits with black seed in them, and they're quite hard, and so I'm just poking around and making sure that there's no seed in there. But yeah, it's basically mush. Yep. And then with the pumpkin, we're just gonna cut it in half. Ooh, look at that. Comes right out. And you can just take a spoon and scoop out the inside, the seeds. Oh my gosh, that pumpkin smells so so pumpkiny, hence pumpkin. But what I mean is that it is really, really intensified, and that's what we want. And that's why fresh pumpkins are always best. And of course, these are from Mom's garden, so organic pumpkins. And it doesn't take a whole lot. There we go. I would suggest if you're using canned pumpkins, like Libby's canned pumpkins or other brands, and that's perfectly fine. You might want to perhaps maybe simmer it down so that way the liquid can evaporate a little bit and it concentrates the pumpkin flavor. And just look at that rich, intense pumpkin color. That is just gorgeous. In packing down the pumpkin and persimmon, it is about a total of less under 2 cups, and so maybe 2 3/4 cups. So 1 persimmon fruit, peeled, obviously steamed and peeled, and then 2 small pumpkins. I would say probably 2.5 cups of pumpkin puree if you're going to use a canned pumpkin, or if you don't have small pumpkins, what is the portion, right? So 2.5 cups of pumpkins. You can either steam it or you can bake it and just scoop out the insides and not the peel, not the outer layer, because it's waxy and it's hard. I actually like to eat it, but that's it. Now we're going to put this in with our cheesecake mixture, and we're going to blend it and pour it into our cheesecake pan, and then we're going to bake it at 350. All right, so we've got cream cheese, and now we're going to put in the remaining of the ingredients, the 5 eggs in there, and then our brown sugar, we'll just dump it in there, and then all of our spices, but we'll do vanilla, so I would say about a tablespoon. We're going to do about half a teaspoon, right, of cardamom. And then nutmeg, we'll do probably a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And then we'll do a teaspoon of ginger, or about. And then, of course, cinnamon. Whoops. Of course, cinnamon. So I would say about a teaspoon and a half. And then we're just basically going to mix it all together. Okay. Now that my mixture is nice and smooth, there are still some clumps, but that is to be expected, and that's okay. But I think it is ready. And we're just going to pour it into the dish here. But first, I'm going to taste it to make sure that I like it, because once it goes in the oven, there is no turning back. So I am just going to stick my finger in the batter. Now there's raw eggs in there. Oh, wow. Yummy. That is amazing. Okay, I am happy with this, and I'm going to pour it in. Ooh, beautiful. I'm going to use my spatula, make sure I get all this yumminess. I can really taste the cardamom in this, and just the nuttiness of the organic pumpkin. Mom's organic, homegrown, backyard grown pumpkins. To get the air bubbles out, we're just going to lift it about 1/2 inch to 1 inch and just let it fall onto the counter, and the air bubbles will come out. Ta-da! it's ready to go in the oven. I've got my oven to 350 degrees, so I'm going to go there now. Most cheesecakes should bake for 55 to 60 minutes, and a cheesecake that large, 9 3/4 inch of a diameter of a cheesecake pan, I'm going to probably check it at a 45th or 50th minute marker. And if it's good, meaning it's not all the way cooked yet, then we're going to apply our sour cream topping, sour cream vanilla topping, which I'll show you how to make. Ooh, I just heard the oven go ding. So at the 45th minute marker, and we're gonna check it and see where it's at. Ooh, that's perfect. We're back at the counter and I've got the cheesecake here and also sour cream. So this is about a pound of sour cream and it is at room temperature. And I'm going to put in 1 tablespoon of sugar. And then we're going to do vanilla. So I would say about 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And you're just going to mix it really, really well. Measuring is one thing, but when you want it a certain flavor, just because of your personal preference or your family preference, then I would taste along the way. It might need more sugar, it might need more sour cream if it's too sweet. So I would say not sweet enough. So we're going to do 2 tablespoons. And you'll want to taste along the way because you might want it more bland, more sweet, or more tartness. I'm going to taste it here. I think I'm going to put in 1 more tablespoon of sugar. That should be about it. That's perfect. So now we're going to put this over the cheesecake and layer it just evenly. Now this just came out of the oven, so it is hot, and that's okay. It's going to melt a little bit of the sour cream mixture. Then we're going to put it back in the oven, same temperature, 350 degrees. And we will bake for 10 to 15 minutes. And what it'll do is it'll create this custardy, a little bit more thicker than a custard topping, and it's just out of this world. Ta-da! There you have it. Okay, it's going to go back in the oven. Charlie Poo, should I doily or decorate? Decorate? Okay, thank you. So Charlie Poo has given his answer. We are going to decorate and not doily. My pumpkin persimmon cheesecake is completely done, completely cooled. I have been cooking and baking all day and into the night. I have a yummy pile of chocolate chip cookies behind me. It's going to be an accessory to our dessert for tomorrow's Thanksgiving feast or post-Thanksgiving feast because we're having it on the Friday. So let's come back to the counter here. I've got the doily, which we're no longer going to do because Charlie Poo has voted and he wants us to decorate. So here is the cooled pumpkin persimmon cheesecake. As you can see, it's come off of the edge. To make sure that this completely, the rim comes off clean, we're going to use a butter knife and we're simply going to trace completely around the edge. And this is easily done, especially when the cheesecake has cooled completely because everything has congealed and it's just not going to fall apart. I'm going to run this around one more time. I can smell already just the yummy spices that we put in the pumpkin persimmon cheesecake, and I just can't wait to start decorating this. And so let's go ahead and carefully remove, as you can see right here, the buckle. So we'll just, and then we'll just swivel it around and slowly lift up. Ooh, beautiful. Now I can really smell, even more so of the yummy spices. My goodness, this is beautiful. There's what it looks like. You can see the layering of the sour cream vanilla topping. It's just beautiful. When you cut into this, you get to enjoy both the tartness from the sour cream vanilla topping, but also the pumpkin persimmon cheesecake. So how are we going to decorate this? It's completely up to you. Some people just eat it plain and it's beautiful as is. But remember the persimmon fruits that I had left over. So I basically sliced them into thin slices here, as you can see, and I dehydrated them and they just curl up beautifully. And then I also have a couple of cinnamon sticks, just so appropriate for Thanksgiving. And then the cap of the persimmon fruit, and we're going to use that to decorate as well. And then also, because it's Thanksgiving, we're going to do cranberries. We're going to use cranberries to decorate as well. And I'm just going to do the cranberries around the sides. Chubby cranberries. There you have it. All around cranberry crown. This is so beautiful. It's just incredible how you can just have fun decorating with fruits. And I'm just going to squeeze that in there so that it stays. Stick that there. From the sides. Oh, look how gorgeous that is. I don't want to tilt this too much because then the cranberries will fall down. But there you have it. Thank you for watching Paulina's Global Flavors. I hope you try out this recipe. You can aim for Christmas, and it could be a Christmas pumpkin persimmon cheesecake. I hope you like, and I hope you subscribe, and please share. It's such a fun recipe, and it's so delicious. Have a good night.